This happened to me about 3 summers ago. It was the summer before I went off to uni, being the morning of the huge solar eclipse, you know, the one Trump looked at without glasses. Anyway, my buddy had parties at his house every weekend because his parents would go up to their cottage. The parties were basically a bunch of our friends smoking weed, playing beer pong, video games, with me and my other 2 girlfriends. I lived in the same neighborhood as my friend, just a couple of blocks away. Usually, 1 or 2 of the guys would walk us back to my house at the end of the night since they lived around me and didn't want us to walk alone in the dark. But this particular night, we chose to Uber because we were too intoxicated to walk home. We were really crossfaded. My recollection of this story isn't crystal clear regarding all that was said. So our Uber pulls up to my friend's house at around 3 AM and me and my 2 girlfriends walk up to the car to get in. It was a minivan. We were still holding our coolers in our hand as we were too gone to realise. I opened the door to the back seat and the driver immediately gave off really weird vibes. He looked at me and had this look on his face, an almost weird stare, but sort of smiling too. He had long black hair and a ponytail, a beard, and was wearing a neon yellow tracksuit. He also had some type of European accent. I couldn't tell what kind. I'm Slavic, so I would know. It had to be maybe Portuguese or Italian or something because it didn't sound familiar to me. He looked at me and did the elevator with his eyes, saying, "I like your shirt," and winked. For starters, I was 17 and this man seemed around late 20s and early 30s. Second of all, I barely had much of a shirt on. I remember I was wearing a low-cut crop top, so my boobs were obviously out. Again, I was really crossed, so I just brushed it off and laughed. Me and my friends sat down in our seats, and the driver turned back and said to us, "If we get arrested, you guys are going to jail," gesturing at our open drinks. Again, we were really gone and didn't really give a fuck, so we just laughed, and my friend said something along the lines of, "Don't worry, we'll be low-key," or whatever. He drove off, and I noticed that the stop signs where I would usually turn left to go home, he turned right. He had a GPS with him, but was clearly ignoring it. I thought maybe he was just cutting through the neighborhood in a different way, so I just went with it. I know the area really good. There's like 5 alternative routes back to my place. Suddenly we ended up on the main road, the complete opposite direction of my house. As we headed under an underpass, I turned to my friends and said, "Guys, he's going the wrong way." I looked at my friend who ordered the Uber, thinking she might have put the wrong address or even her own address in instead of mine. And she flashed me her screen. She had my address as the drop-off point. I guess the Uber driver caught on to us and turned around and said to us, "Do you guys want to go to the school?" We all looked at each other confused. No? We want to go home," said my friend. "All the other kids I drive want to go to school. You know, the big parking lot. That's where I take them," the man said, with a creepy look on his face. We knew what school he was talking about. It was a high school, just up the road. It's conveniently located in the middle of a huge field. By the way, all the kids go there, he emphasized. I remember the looks of horror on my friends' faces. "No, drop us off now," my friend demanded, even though we were still driving down the main road. There was a 24-hour grocery store coming up, so I panicked and yelled, "Drop us off at the grocery store right now." He glared at me in the rearview mirror and turned onto the plaza. He dropped us off at the grocery store, and we didn't even think of looking back to see him drive off. We just ran inside to safety, or so we thought. Minutes later, as we were pacing down an aisle, trying to order another Uber. We live in a suburb, so finding an Uber at 3 AM isn't always easy or quick. We see the Uber driver walking past our aisle. I don't think he saw us, but we immediately made a run for it. As we were running, he saw us and began to follow us from afar. Soon enough, he made his way closer and closer and closer. We pretty much sped through almost every aisle trying to get away from him. My friend got a notification that a driver was on his way to pick us up, and he was like 2 or 3 minutes away. We decided to go wait at the front of the store, still inside by the exit doors. Roughly 30 seconds later, the man comes up to us with a bewildered look on his face. He says, "You girls want me to drive you home?" We all went pale. "No, don't worry about it. We have a ride," my friend said. "No, it's okay. I can drive you guys home," he insisted. "No, I said we have a ride. It's on the way." That seemed to anger him. "What, you ordered another Uber? What about me?" he said. He was standing very close to us too. I don't remember his face completely, as I was so high my eyes were barely open, but I remember the smile he had on his face the entire time he was chatting with us. That eerie, nasty smile. "We have a driver," my friend snapped. The man walked away. The Uber was 1 minute away, but it seemed to be stuck at the red lights at the intersection to get into the plaza we were in. We were watching the map on the Uber app on my friend's phone in complete fear. This felt like the longest couple of minutes of my life, and I was scared as hell. We turned around to see if the Uber driver left the store, but there he was, about 15 feet behind us, standing very close to the one cashier who was standing by a display. The poor kid looked super uncomfortable, but we saw that the driver kept constant eye contact with us as he was talking to the cashier, pointing at us several times. Suddenly, we saw the Uber pull up in front of the store. We sprinted out of the store, not looking back, and hopping in the car. I yelled, "Drive, drive, drive," and locked the doors. The new Uber driver gassed it, and we were on the way home safely to mine. He asked us if we were alright, since we were clearly being frantic. We explained the story, and he told us to report it as soon as we got home, and he would file a report or witness statement or whatever himself too. He even said he will stay in front of the house until we got inside to make sure we were safe. We thanked the man. We were super scared that the previous Uber driver would follow us, as he had my address from when he was driving us earlier. I made sure we locked all the doors, windows, everything once we got inside. I put the security alarm on, and we reported the incident to Uber via email. The next morning, we woke up to 5 missed calls from Uber and an email apologising, refunding our trips from that night. Also, a statement saying that the driver will be pulled off the road from Uber as they investigate. We never heard back from Uber regarding the creepy driver, but I hope to never see him again. What's really creepy is that a few months ago, a younger girl I work with, she was 16 at the time, told me a creepy guy kept hitting on her and making her uncomfortable one night when she was closing alone at the smoothie bar we worked at. She described him as early 30s and wearing a neon yellow tracksuit. I felt my stomach drop. I immediately said black hair, beard, accent. Was he wearing a low ponytail? And she shuddered and said yes. I still get chills thinking about this man.